Hello, sixth graders. We are starting a new chapter in science. We're going to be looking at energy, or continue. We talked about forces last chapter, and we're going to look at energy. So lesson 1 is temperature, thermal energy, and heat. So first, let's read our My Planet diary. This one's a fun fact. It's called Nature's Bathtub. Could you take a hot bath outside with no ceramic bathtub or running water? This is possible in hot springs all over the world. Hot springs occur when underground water heated by Earth bubbles up and collects in pools on Earth's surface. The water in a hot spring can reach above 50 degrees Celsius, which is 122 degrees Fahrenheit. By contrast, a hot shower is about 43 degrees Celsius, or 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So it says visitors use these hot springs to relax. What other daily household functions could be done without running water or electricity? So some that I thought of, you can hang clothes or wash clothing in a river, or I suppose if a puddle was big enough, you could do that too. Or you can hang laundry outside to dry. So instead of using the dryer, that would be an example of not using electricity. Right? There we go. So what are our two key questions? What determines the temperature of an object, and what is thermal energy? So we're going to move the bubble down to the bottom. Temperature is a measure of how hot or cold something is compared to a reference point. So temperature is a measure of the average kinetic energy of the particles in an object. So there are 3 scales that measure temperature. We have Fahrenheit scale, the temperature scale on which water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the one that's used by the United States. We have the Celsius scale, the temperature scale on which water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. This is used by most other countries. And finally, we have the Kelvin scale. This is the temperature scale on which 0 is the temperature at which no more energy can be removed from matter. It's basically the lowest temperature that's possible. And this is used by a lot of scientists. So a change of 1 Kelvin is the same as 1 degree Celsius. So it's similar to the Celsius scale, except 0 is the lowest option. So then we have absolute 0, the lowest temperature possible, or 0 kelvins, we just mentioned, which is equal to negative 273 degrees Celsius. So it's rather cold. Next, thermal energy is the total energy of all the particles in an object. It depends on the temperature of an object, the number of particles in it, and how those particles are arranged. The more particles an object has at a given temperature, the more thermal energy it has. The higher the temperature of an object, the more thermal energy the object has. Then we have the definition of heat, the transfer of thermal energy from a warmer object to a cooler object. So that's it for our lesson. Let's review the vocabulary. Temperature, measure of how hot or cold something is compared to a reference point. Fahrenheit scale, the temperature scale on which water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The Celsius scale, temperature scale on which water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. And the Kelvin scale, the temperature scale on which 0 is the temperature at which no more energy can be removed from matter. Absolute 0 is the lowest temperature possible, or 0 kelvins. Heat, the transfer of thermal energy from a warmer object to a cooler object. And your assignment, complete the Edmodo questions for lesson 1. If you have questions on the lesson or anything else, let me know. Otherwise, have a great Thursday.